Welcome all to the Institute of International European Affairs this afternoon for what I'm sure is going to be a most interesting address by our honoured guest, Minister Caoimhe Archibald. As I say, thank you all for being here. It's our almost our first event after the summer break. So I hope you've had a nice break as well. And thank you for your continuing support for the Institute. And it's my great pleasure now for this afternoon's event to hand over to my colleague Dahi O'Cally, who will do the honours, introduce our distinguished guest and moderate the discussion. Thank you all very much.
Thanks. Our speaker today is Dr. Caoimhe Archibald, who's the Minister for the Economy in Northern Ireland. She's a very distinguished academic record before spending, I think, a good number of years working in the horticultural section, including some in Dublin. She was first elected as an MLA for East Londonderry. She comes from Coleraine in 2017. And has been Minister for Finance and also is now Minister for the Economy. It's a great pleasure to welcome you. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
So thank you very much to the IIEA for inviting me to speak with you this afternoon. It's a real honour and privilege to be here with you and to be invited to share some thoughts. In 1958, Thomas Kenneth Whittaker, a civil servant in the Department of Finance, prepared a submission for the Irish government. The paper identified the state's key economic weaknesses and outlined a new model based on integration into the global economy, openness to international capital, and a focus on high productivity industries and exports. A condensed version of the paper called Programme for Economic Expansion was published later that year. The model outlined by Whittaker came to form the economic consensus of the state. In some respects, it has been extraordinarily successful, delivering unprecedented levels of economic growth. However, a new economic programme is now required, one which is capable of attracting widespread consensus, which can create a strong, resilient and fairer economy, and which takes into account new realities. And one of those realities is America's swing to protectionism. This has starkly highlighted the danger of being overly reliant on one market. According to the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council, in 2023, 3 firms accounted for almost 40% of the state's corporation tax revenue, US firms accounting for 75% of that revenue. So we need to develop new markets and, importantly, focus more on growing small domestic businesses capable of competing internationally. Because it remains the case that as a small country, Ireland can only prosper as part of the broader global community. A new economic model must also ensure that the benefits of growth are better invested for the long-term good of society. Failures around housing and to address poverty have created social tension and discontent and provided all too fertile ground for far-right politics. Critically, a new economic programme must address the gathering momentum for constitutional change. It must be a truly national plan, a plan to integrate and elevate the all-Ireland economy. Interestingly, it was another former civil servant who in the 1990s attempted to create the modern consensus around the all-Ireland economy. In a speech delivered in Dublin in 1992, Sir George Quigley argued that Ireland should function as a single economic entity and called for a particular focus on developing the Belfast to Dublin corridor. Following the creation of the EU single market and the establishment of the cross-border institutions under the Good Friday Agreement, all-Ireland trade has flourished. Remarkably, cross-border trade has more than doubled since 2020. And the Executive and the Irish Government are cooperating well to build on this organic growth. Funding has been increased for Intertrade Ireland, which supports cross-border trade on the island, and for Tourism Ireland, which markets the island internationally as a single unit. In February 2024, the Irish Government announced €30 million of shared island funding for a new All-Ireland Enterprise Scheme. And later that year, Enterprise Ireland, the IIEA and InvestNI collaborated on the first All-Ireland trade mission to Singapore. After this event today, I am visiting InvestNI's Dublin office, which opened just last year. However, barriers do remain. On this small island, we have 2 different tax systems and now 2 different tariff regimes for exporting to the US. As a result of Brexit, the north of the country has been pulled out of the EU single market for services and denied full access to EU labour. Access to talent is a key issue for businesses. It's mentioned to me all the time by businesses. Such a small island, such a small island, it is critical that people can work as seamlessly as possible across the country. However, as highlighted in a recent study commissioned by the Shared Island Working Group, there are a range of difficulties facing people who live on one side of the border but want to work on the other. Complications in relation to payroll and taxation have a knock-on effect on issues such as social security, entitlements, pensions and mortgage applications. These difficulties have been exacerbated by the rise of remote working, as more people are employed in one jurisdiction but work from their home in the other. These frictions have a particularly strong impact on border areas, which are at the edge of 2 economies rather than at the heart of an all-Ireland economy. As a result of partition, decisions made in London continue to impact on the North and on the operation of the all-Ireland economy. Britain's economy has long been characterised by low productivity and low growth. Its decline has been reinforced by policies of economic self-harm, such as deindustrialisation, austerity and Brexit. Since coming into power, the Labour government has continued to pursue economically damaging policies, hiking employers' national insurance contributions, prioritising spending on the military instead of rebuilding public services and infrastructure, and continuing with the Tories' electronic travel authorisation scheme to the detriment of our all-Ireland tourism sector. The economic failures of the Conservatives and Labour are such that the possibility of a Nigel Farage-led government is now being talked about. This makes it all the more critical for the North to chart its own economic path. Last year, my party took control of the Economy Department in the North for the first time. We have brought a clear strategic focus. The Department's policies and resources are being recalibrated in line with 4 key objectives. These are to increase productivity, for example, by using dual market access to grow our exports, by prioritising the development of 7 high productivity sectors, and by investing in skills. To create good jobs by strengthening trade unions and workers' rights. To promote regional balance by setting for the first time a regional investment target and by creating local economic partnerships to develop localised economic plans and support Indigenous businesses, and to achieve net zero by incentivising renewable energy generation. Recently, our economy has been outperforming Britain, both in terms of overall economic growth and in terms of exports. But it is only through reunification that we can really take control of our economic destiny and realise the full benefits of the all-Ireland economy. Economic modelling by Professor Kurt Hubner forecasts that the growth unleashed by reunification would quickly eliminate the fiscal deficit, creating substantial net gains for both parts of the island and particularly for the North. Professor John Doyle of DCU recently published a paper with a similar conclusion. He estimates that the economic growth generated by unity would eliminate the subvention within 5 to 9 years. History shows that economic unification can be achieved very quickly. Within a year of the Berlin Wall falling and with virtually no preparation, Germany unified 2 economies which couldn't have been more different. A capitalist and a command economy which belonged to 2 different trading blocs, with currencies that weren't even traded with each other, and with a huge disparity in infrastructure and living standards. The reunification of Ireland does not involve anything like the same challenges. Our economies are similar and already highly integrated. Sterling and the euro are already traded and are easily convertible. And the whole of Ireland is already in the EU single market for goods. The scale of the difference in living standards and infrastructure is much less in Ireland, so the two economies could be quickly and completely merged. Nevertheless, we want unification to be as seamless and successful as possible. So there must be preparation and planning, and the Irish Government needs to lead on that. We need citizens' assemblies without delay to give people their say in that planning. We need a plan to harmonise our tax and social security systems, our employment laws, our currencies and our public services in a planned and structured manner. Undoubtedly, there are significant challenges and economic headwinds at this time, but we have a real opportunity that must not be missed to shape the future of the economy on this island in a way that serves the entire island. To create a strong, resilient and fair economy that supports innovation, creativity and entrepreneurial spirit to deliver greater prosperity for all our people and communities. Thank you very much for your time.